Wei Kai, as a substitute who is in a declining state, not at his peak, and starting to have a bad mentality, is about to return to his 4 AM retirement when he awakens his golden finger, who is 2.5 years late. At a time when the team was in a slump, Wekeaton became the backbone of the team. Wei Kai. In 4 AM, there is only one Wei God, and that is me, Wei Kai. God. This family doesn't have you, Kai Gu, we have to break up. Keywords of the novel. Jedi Survivor. The unique Wei God of 4 AM with no pop-ups, Jedi Survivor. The unique Wei God of 4 AM. Complete download of TXT, Jedi Survivor. The unique Wei God of 4 AM. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. The anchor also wants to go on stage, but the anchor is not good. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. The anchor also wants to go on stage, but the anchor is not good. On the second day of the 2020 Jedi Survival PCL Spring Championship Final, the fourth match is in full swing. Off the field, Wei Kai, as a substitute for the VC team, is playing OB matches with a group of good brothers in his own live broadcast room. Beautiful, VC cleared the stars and lifted the fallen summer. We are still fully staffed, and now we have 6 eliminated. With ranking points added, this one is also considered a high-scoring game. Wei Kai cheered for his brothers on the field. The final of this spring tournament only played 18 games in 3 days, and now the schedule is over halfway. The VC team's ranking is very low, and they urgently need a burst to win a big score and narrow the gap. At this point, the game is about to enter Stage 7, with only 6 teams left on the field, including a full team of VC and iFTY, a 2-player team of Rush B, and 3 3-player teams of SMG and CBT, as well as KX. As the anchor switched perspectives, Wei Kai noticed that after knocking down one of KX's team members, iFTY began throwing missiles towards the area where KX was located, intending to attack KX's area. When iFTY attacks KX's area, it depends on how many people KX can defeat. It's best if there is only one remaining team in this area, which is beneficial for our team's future progress. Unfortunately, we fell. At this moment, the 4 members of the VC were commanding the summer to fall, 5V was helping the summer, Monkey King was guarding the CBT in the north, and Doam was guarding the south, which is in the direction of iFTY, to prevent iFTY from pulling too far and causing trouble for them. Otherwise, we might be able to persuade a fight between KX and iFTY. But if I were on the field, I would definitely go and persuade this wave of arguments, step on the reverse slope on the left side of the building area, and wait until iFTY and KX fight, then I will fish in troubled waters and deceive them. Speaking, Wei Kai glanced at the barrage and saw an audience asking, why isn't the anchor on stage? Upon seeing this barrage, Wei Kai broke through his defenses and chuckled to himself, why isn't the anchor on the field? Because the anchor is Kai Bei, the anchor's strength is not as impressive as before, and the anchor is not like those protagonists in esports novels who, after crossing through and rebirth, obtain a golden finger and directly slaughter on the field. When Wei Kai was reborn, the Jedi survival happened to be on the rise in China. Most players at that time couldn't even hold down their guns, which led to Wei Kai becoming one of the top experts in the game for thousands of game hours before his rebirth. He was able to kill enemies indiscriminately in the game. Coupled with the popularity of short videos at that time, Wei Kai tried to publish some exciting killing highlights on short video platforms and gained a lot of fans. Perhaps some of my game controls are not as outrageous as XDD, and I don't have any complaints about cheating or cheating. The anchor also wants to play games, but their talent is limited. Moreover, the anchor's playing style is too unrestrained. In the past, everyone's level was not high and they could still kill indiscriminately, but now that everyone's level has improved, they can't fight indiscriminately anymore, and it's easy to get away with it. The unrestrained gameplay is the reason why Wei Kai can gain many fans during matches. Sometimes, the unrestrained gameplay can catch the opponent's timing of spraying medicine or throwing objects, catching them off guard. This is a high-risk and high-return gameplay. Wei Kai once wanted to make himself less unrestrained, but when he faced his opponent on the field, he couldn't control himself. Every time you confront someone with a gun, especially when you step on a single control point, as long as your gun hits the opposite side, no matter how much blood is dropped or how many projectiles are thrown, you are ready to hit. In Wei Kai's own words, it's like, "You've beaten me crazy, you haven't beaten me stupid." Due to the improvement of the level of the players on the field, the number of times Wei Kai gave also gradually increased. In order to change this situation, Wei Kai also doubled his training and improved his strength a bit. However, the minor flaws of professional players gradually caught up with him, causing Wei Kai's condition to begin to decline. In the end, he had to propose to the coach to rest as a substitute. Now Wei Kai can be said to have started to mess things up. After the VC disbands, he will go back to his 4 AM retirement. The circle refreshed and reached stage 7. With one swipe of this circle, the 3 CBT brothers were swept away, and VC happened to be on the edge of the safe zone circle. With the refreshing of the circle, Wei Kai's attention returned to the game field. The circle brush, CBT is not in the circle, and his path into the circle is exactly blocked by us. Wei Kai glanced at the small map in the lower right corner of the competition field and said, "There is no cover on their route into the circle yet, isn't it, because we randomly drew it? As long as CBT is eliminated before iFTY finishes clearing the KX in the housing area, we may still be able to persuade Wekeaton. There are only 2 players left on the court in the KX area, which is a 4-2 situation. However, both of the KX players are in the shadows in the room, and iFTY is not clear about their positions. As a result, iFTY is playing very cautiously, and the 4 players are not far apart in their positions. They can help the team to fill the shot line in a timely manner. After all, if they are repeatedly hit and patched, it becomes a 3-2 situation, which is difficult to say. Let's take a look at how many people the KX brothers can defeat in iFTY. Although it's 4-2, the rest of them are equipped with a 3rd-level suit and groza, which gives them a great advantage in close-range combat. As long as the 2 brothers have their guns set up. However, before Wei Kai could finish speaking, he saw the iFTY player grab a passing point and knock down one of KX's players, instantly turning into a clean slate. "Ah! Did you get hit too much?" Wei Kai looked surprised. "How did you get hit too much?" It's not strange if the gun falls down, but being hit a bit is also too strange, right? This kind of mistake cannot be made. The remaining players will have to face the encirclement of the 4 iFTY players alone, and iFTY may have won the center of the circle without injury, which is not a good thing. However, soon there was good news in the upper right corner. VC, monkeying knocked down CBT 567 Cow, but our other player VC.DOM was knocked down by a CBT player. The Monkey King will make up for the fallen person, 3-2. If he wants to save a lot of people, it's 2-2. Just hold on, and he also has the advantage of terrain. The advantage lies with me. Wei Kai thought to himself. Wei Kai does not believe that the CBT duo can eliminate the VC in a situation of locked positions and poor terrain. The next second, the heart-wrenching message for Wei Kai appeared in the upper right corner. Surprisingly, Monkey King was knocked down by a CBT player using a grenade and was replaced by a grenade. This won't be the foreshadowing, will it? Wei Kai-dun felt an ominous premonition in his heart. Next, after knocking down an iFTY team member, the remaining 3 members of iFTY were directly eliminated while spraying medicine. It's over, iFTY has eliminated the teams in the housing area. After seeing iFTY eliminate the teams in the surrounding housing area, Wei Kai's heart sank. If people haven't been filled yet, that's full staffing. The hot and full woven iFTY feels too scary. This game is going to be G. But it's still okay. The elimination score and ranking score add up to more than 10 points, that's pretty good. Although he is a substitute, Wei Kai still has a clear understanding of the situation on the field. Seeing the audience in the live broadcast room flashing question marks, Wei Kai used his mouse to circle the location of iFTY on the bottom right corner of the mini-map and explained. This iFTY is going to be pulled out from the right side of the property to clear us, and it's still a slope on the right. Even if they pull it dry, they won't be disturbed by other teams. Our team is at the bottom again, and when iFTY steps on the diagonal wave behind them, there will only be a chance of being beaten. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. The Golden Finger, 2.5 years late. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. The Golden Finger, 2.5 years late. In the live broadcast room of the competition at this time, the perspective given by the guide is the VC team, and only 3 players from the VC team are fixedly staring at the remaining 2 players from the CBT team outside the circle. Wei Kai knew that there was no room for any operation left for the 2 remaining players in the CBT team. The 2 players shared a small reverse tilt and could only lie down. When they got up, they would suffer injuries from the 3 members of the VC team. What was even more deadly was that this small reverse tilt was not in the circle yet, and the terrain for entering the circle was relatively flat. Once the 2 CBT players had to get up and enter the circle first, it was a moving target. Stop fighting, the positions are locked. Just lie there and throw the throwing object to clear those 2 people. Wei Kai was a little anxious at the moment. Do you really need to wait for the hoop to shrink? Did Summer stabilize himself too much? Summer is the leader of the team, who led the VC to win the championship of the 2019 PCL Spring Tournament and finished 5th in the PGC Global Finals at the end of the year. After retiring, Wei Shen joined 4AM as the conductor and unexpectedly won the 2023 PCL Spring Championship. However, he struggled in the PGS final shortly after. 5V, don't be a shrinking turtle, isn't there a flash? Throw the flash and clear them. Summer and Doem are both on the rack. As time passed, the shrinking blue circle began to compress the survival space of CBT, and the 2 CBT players began to shut themselves off, wanting to make a final struggle. At this moment, Wei Kai noticed that in the small map at the bottom right corner, there were already iFTY team members pulling out of the room and moving towards VC. The 3 brothers of the VC team on the field were completely unaware that someone was coming from behind, and their attention was still focused on the 2 CBT players. Can someone step on the slanted wave behind him and take a look at his butt? Wei Kai became a little anxious when he saw that his team member was about to be stabbed in the butt. Just leave 2 people on the CBT to keep an eye on it. The Doem cannon is mounted far away, and the 5V is stuck close. Summer can definitely show the brothers' backs. At this moment, a mask of pain gradually appeared on Wei Kai's face. From the southern part of the 7th circle to the northern part, if it's too long, with just a shot interfering, maybe iFTY will retreat to the housing area on its own for safety reasons. Even if iFTY cannot be driven back to the housing area, as long as a gun is fired, it can prevent iFTY from recklessly pulling on the flat ground and slow down the attack speed of the 3 iFTY players. At this point, it is not required to be able to knock down iFTY players. As long as you ensure that you are not knocked down by iFTY players, drag your teammates to clean up the 2 CBT players and complete the task. Next is 3v3, we still have to fight. The replacement of the Monkey King is really a foreshadowing. However, at this time, the 2 VC players, Doem and Summer, were still fiercely drawing on the 2 CBT players, while the 5V was ambushing the 2 CBT players at close range. Next, a CBT player rushed out of the closed smoke and was accurately knocked down by Doem. At this point, iFTY was already in place, taking a few shots from the back of the 5V. After being attacked, 5V hurriedly ran back to the low point to apply medicine. Seeing the three brothers of VC all shrinking at a low point, Wei Kai knew that these three brothers were gone. After the last CBT guy delivered the poison without giving a score, the beating from iFTY also followed. First, the 5V was hit and patched by iFTY's sniper platoon, and within a few seconds, the summer was also knocked down, leaving only one Doem sealed off with a self-closing smoke. Doem is a smoker. When you're a hungry ghost in the smoke, see if you can make up for it by hitting it in a row. If you hit it, you'll make a profit. Unfortunately, it didn't take much time for iFTY to easily eliminate the remaining mixed smoke duo M. iFTY is eating this. After iFTY eliminated the VC, the three contestants did not choose to withdraw from the housing area, and Wei Kai made a direct decision. There is no reason not to eat this iFTY game. Half of the map in the final round is controlled by iFTY, and the area is still in the circle. He is the only full formation of the three teams on the field, and the positions of the remaining players are clear. The three people pulled out directly cleared the Rush B brothers, and will eat this game. The next development is also as expected by Wei Kai. After clearing out the VC, iFTY will directly use the original position of the VC as the starting point to easily eliminate Rush B, and the remaining SMG will have no fighting power in front of iFTY, which has a hot feel. During this period, one of the SMG team members wanted to touch the iFTY area, but the iFTY team members who stayed in the area were very cautious and had been consciously guarding against SMG, which prevented the SMG team members from succeeding. 16 eliminated chicken eaters, iFTY is second. With iFTY's high elimination of chicken eating, iFTY's score directly rose to second place. After sighing, Wei Kai turned off the sound in the live broadcast room and opened the PUBG, during which he glanced at the barrage. My eyebrows furrowed slightly. Hello, where's the property manager? Seal off those who have a rhythm and those who criticize my boss. Every competition in any project has many mentors and fans from different teams fighting against each other, and the survival of the Jedi project is no exception. The most fierce fight among fans of PlayerUnknown is between fans of 4AM and 17, now known as SMG. The reason is that during a world tournament, the predecessor of SMG team, the 17 team, was defeated by a small and eye-catching Thunder from 4AM player captain to be precise. One Thunder knocked down three of them, M4 knocked out the last one, and finally succeeded in eating chicken. One of the parties involved was the Monkey King, who is currently in VC. In the end, the two fan teams formed a grudge. In just 23 years, with the help of the Jedi socialite Hua Xiaohai, the two team bosses retired and played a few games together. In 2017, they invited God to compete together, and the rhythm between their fans slowly came to a halt. But it still doesn't hinder me from leading my brother and rhythm together. The reason for cursing the boss is that there are so many 4AM fans in Wei Kai's live broadcast room. As for why there are so many 4AM fans in Wei Kai's VC substitute live broadcast room, mainly because Wei Kai had previously stayed in the 4AM and played a few games on behalf of Aruka during the Berlin tournament. At that time, there was a conflict between Aruka and the 8 million God of War Orphan. Aruka lost his earphones to Orphan and was also subjected to online bullying by Orphan's and fans, which led to Aruka not wanting to play with Orphan. However, Orphan also believed that Aruka was too bad and did not want to play with him. After learning about it, Aruka often wanted to retire, with small withdrawals every 3 days and large withdrawals every 5 days. During the Berlin game, his mentality exploded. At that time, Wei Kai took over from Aruka and played the remaining games, which was considered a crisis. In addition, although Wei Kai is currently in VC, the boss of VC, Mafenga, and the commander and boss of 4A, Wei Shen, are the same. Therefore, GODV is also Wei Kai's boss. Even Wei Kai's live broadcast guild is hung on 4A. How can Wei Kai make people insult their own boss recklessly? To be honest, Wei Kai can understand the feelings of these fans. The performance of the 4AM in the past 2 days has not been good. Despite being a team that has the strength to compete for the championship in the World Tournament, they cannot even make it to the top 8 in the domestic league now. It is easy to imagine the feelings of the fans. Before his rebirth, Wei Kai was also a fan of 4AM and often made decisions about cerebral congestion due to players playing on the field, which led to a surge in blood pressure while watching games. However, Wei Kai belongs to the optimistic faction among fans and generally does not directly spray in the live broadcast room or post for meetings on Hupu. If you play poorly, you should really criticize, but don't attack the players directly. If you attack the players on the field, then I'll have to ban you. Then Wei Kai comforted the 4AM fans in his live broadcast room and said, "You don't have to worry. Tomorrow, with a handful of chickens, the score will come up. This team has a script." Wei Kai remembers very clearly that on the last day of the 4AM, his form exploded and he scored several consecutive high points. In the last game, he even eliminated the chicken and directly ranked 5th. This short format competition is about how explosive a team is. However, it's not very friendly to slow-paced teams. When you're in good form, you're going to chase points. Pop, the game is over. You need to think positively. Anyway, if there are spots in the 4AM, then consider it a new trainee. After speaking, the loading screen disappeared and entered the game. Aircraft wreckage. "I hate this picture," Wei Kai muttered, changing the weapon options to SLR. Arcade gun training. Airplane wreckage is the map that Wei Kai hates to encounter the most. As the countdown ended, Wei Kai also entered a state of focus, no longer looking at the barrage, but fully immersed himself in the game. As for practicing guns, one must focus. More than 10 minutes later, looking at the 0.2 on the settlement page, Wei Kai said in silence, "Can I lose? I killed nearly half of the people alone." Glancing at the barrage, they were all brushing the anchor 666, mixed with some rhythmic guys. It seems that the anchor's ability to hit the target is still impressive. The anchor is so powerful, why shrink here and become a small anchor instead of becoming a professional and famous? Basically, after Wei Kai came on as a substitute, this kind of barrage would appear every time he played some exciting actions in the game during the live broadcast. The anchor also wants to play the game, but the anchor. The words came to a complete halt, and Wei Kai was surprised to find that a subtitle and a virtual screen appeared in front of him out of thin air. Completed 1 arcade mode, eliminated 42, gained experience points of 5.2, what is this? Golden Finger, who was 2.5 years late. It was unbelievable. Wei Kai blinked his eyes and rubbed his own eyes with his hand, only to find that the virtual screen was still in front of him. This is not an illusion. Wei Kai suppressed the excitement in his heart and said, "Brothers, the anchor's eyes are a bit uncomfortable. Let's get off the air first." After speaking, he ignored the barrage and ended the live broadcast directly. Wei Kai calmed his excitement for a moment and began to study the 2.5 years late Golden Finger. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Kaizi, you go up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Kaizi, you go up. This is a bit like the player panel in FIFA games, Wei Kai thought to himself as he looked at some hexagonal icons on the virtual screen in front of him. Pressure gun, 0/6, gun control, 0/6, follow gun, 0/6, reaction, 0/6, prediction and positioning, 0/6, endurance and energy, 0/6. The first few are not difficult to understand, but the endurance and energy behind should be maintained in a steady state. These can be improved by using skill points. However, Wei Kai felt a bit speechless in his heart. At least he is also a professional player, and basic things such as gun pressure, control, and control are not just duck eggs. There are also some dim additional icons with special names. Wei Kai believes that these are like player talents in FIFA games, but skill points are needed to light them up here. Rapid reaction, 0/3, as the name suggests, is a significant increase in reaction rate. Terminator, 0/3. In the final round, players can play 1.on.1 to enhance their various abilities. The large heart, 0/3, reduces operational deformation caused by tension. Hot state, 0/3, after eating a chicken, increase the player's state in the next match. When the elimination number of a team reaches 8, the state of all players in the team is increased. When there is only one player left in the team, increase the player's various abilities. Precision shooting, 0/3, increases the accuracy of continuous sniping at long distances. Weapon Master, 0/3, reduce the demand for accessories. Long Endurance, 0/3, allows athletes to maintain good condition for a long time. Not to be cited one by one, highlight simulation training. The pressure gun reflects these, divided into 6 levels, each level requires gradually increasing points. Wei Kai calculated that it takes 21 points to fully upgrade. For the others, it will be 30 o'clock. And only with 500 experience points can one obtain a skill point. Just now, Wei Kai spent more than 10 minutes playing an arcade game to gain 5.2 experience points. A game provides less experience, which means that Wei Kai needs to spend a lot of time, but it's okay. As a professional player, the most important thing is playing the game. However, like FIFA games, completing formal competitions can also earn a large amount of experience points. I have to go out and play games, Wei Kai thought to himself. As for the highlight simulation, Wei Kai also understood that it was to allow himself to complete the highlight operation created by other players. Go on, work hard, the next superstar is me. Wei Kai cheered for himself. Now that the benefits of training are clear, Wei Kai is full of motivation. Set a small goal to win this year's PGI's championship. Coincidentally, after the VC disbanded, he returned to the 4AM. As long as he performs well in various competitions this year, he is likely to be able to compete in the PGIS represents the team in the game. At the PGI in February and March next year in the S Global Invitational, 4AM is only one step away from winning the championship trophy. PGIS can be said to be the most unique event in the competition system, or it can be said to be bizarre. 32 teams will compete in the qualifying round, and through the results of the qualifying round, the top 16 teams with the highest points will enter the first week of the tournament. And the midweek competition is a hellish difficulty. No matter how many knockouts you have, you cannot enter the weekly finals without eating chicken. That's right, only by eating chicken can you qualify for the weekly finals. After advancing to the weekly finals, they will be replaced from the remaining 16 teams. There is also a substitute match for teams that did not make it to the weekly finals. The higher the ranking, the higher the sequence of substitute matches. The weekly finals, on the other hand, follow the usual point system. However, the most peculiar way is to select the championship, which is determined by the amount of accumulated bonuses. Each ranking in the weekly finals has a corresponding bonus, and the higher the ranking, the higher the bonus. At first glance, it may seem reasonable, but the problem is that his weekly bonus is different. The more he goes on, the more bonus he receives, and the final week's bonus is doubled. 6 times in the weekly finals, 4AM made it 3 times. The first time in the weekly finals was 3rd place, the second time was the weekly champion. In the 3rd week, due to the illness of Wei Shen, he was unable to enter the weekly finals. In the 4th and 5th weeks, he directly fell ill and was unable to enter the weekly finals. In the 6th week, he fell from the top of the table to 3rd place due to the last 2 consecutive games he failed to score, missing out on the championship trophy. Before the 6th week, SQ, who was second to last in terms of prize money, won the weekly finals championship, instantly surpassing the prize money and becoming the first place winner, ultimately winning the cup. This has become a regret for countless people, including Wei Kai and the 2 world championships of 4AM, both of which are difficult to reconcile. This time, with the golden finger, Wei Kai won't let that airplane brother pick up that championship trophy again. Oh no, it's outrageous. So, let's start cheering from today. Due to the appearance of the golden finger, Wei Kai's mentality began to deteriorate, reigniting his fighting spirit. First, I reopened the live broadcast room. The daily broadcast time must be completed, so Wei Kai didn't want to be busy at the end of the month. First, he greeted the audience guarding the live broadcast room, then glanced at the game live broadcast room and found that the VC had been eliminated early. After that, Wei Kai directly closed the game live broadcast room and entered the game, starting to seriously experience the game. Just as Wei Kai was fully immersed in his liver experience, the atmosphere in the neighboring training room was somewhat solemn, and the 4 VC players had very unpleasant expressions. In this round of competition, they were gradually eroded by other teams outside the circle during the 4th round, ranking only 14th in the bureau without any ranking points or even elimination. In the previous game, I finally managed to score a little, slightly narrowing the gap with the front team scores. As I watched the hope of chasing points emerge, this game was a waste, and the previous one can be said to be a waste. The coach of the VC team, Jia Duobao, is also extremely anxious at this moment. Who could have imagined that VC, who had a brilliant performance in the recent PGC Global Finals, is now playing so poorly in the league? Did you know that the boss lady wanted to sell the team but didn't have the mentality to play games? But hadn't the landlady arranged everything for their next home? Jia Duobao knows that his own boss is getting married, and the official PCL tournament cannot allow a family to have 2 teams. Moreover, the boss's focus will also be on family and pregnancy preparation, and he will not have time to manage the club. Boss God has a fellow villager who also plans to do the Jedi Survival Project, so he recommended Summer to him. The competition quota for PCL was sold to Runner from the original Weibo team, and most of the other players joined Runner's team. It is said that the benchmarking has been designed in the same style as 4AM. And Wei Kai is returning to the 4AM, just like Aruka, where he retires. However, unlike Aruka, Wei Kai belongs to the type of club that needs to be able to play. But Jia Duobao is different. He hasn't found his next employer yet, and he still needs to play better in VC competitions to make his resume look better. But the performance of the brothers this time is really unsatisfactory. No, the team's ranking must be improved, at least to enter the top 8. However, based on the current performance of the 4 players, it is obvious that they cannot catch up with the score. The player's condition is not good, even if the coach has very good tactics, it is useless. After all, this Jedi survival is still a shooting game, and marksmanship is the most important. There is no good marksmanship, even if the circle is brushed against your face every time, your position may not be able to be defended. In the game, I have seen too many teams in the Destiny Circle shatter with just a touch when attacked by other teams. We need to change people. But are you really going to replace him? Jia Duobao's gaze shifted to Wei Kai, who was experiencing liver disease. Wei Kai was actually practicing shooting today, it's really rare. Jia Duobao was a bit surprised. Recently, after Wei Kai finished his OB game, he started playing CSGO. In my impression, Wei Kai hasn't been playing PUBG much lately. Why is he playing PUBG today? Gazing at Wei Kai for a few seconds, Jia Duobao made up his mind to let Wei Kai play. Although Jia Duobao knows that Wei Kai's level is no longer at its peak, his performance in previous PGC matches has been relatively stable. Later on, he chose to be a substitute because he couldn't bear the invasion of injuries and wanted to rest for a period of time. He said it was a substitute rest, but Jia Duobao knew in his heart that this was a semi-retired state. Don't you see? Previously, CPT Xiaoxing told Wei Shen that he wanted to take a break for a period of time. After Wei Shen agreed, he gave Wei Shen a pigeon, and even the retirement announcement was ignored. However, now it seems that the newly arrived Monkey King still has some problems with the other three in terms of coordination, while Wei Kai and the three have been playing for a long time and have a good understanding, especially with the 5v. The two used to often double row. In addition, Wei Kai is also an old player with rich competition experience. Jiaduobo chooses to believe in Wei Kai, hoping that after joining Wei Kai, the team can undergo a chemical reaction. Kaizi, come and have a meeting. Jia Duobao walked behind Wei Kai and patted his shoulder. What? Meeting. Wei Kai took off his headphones and looked at Jia Duobao with bewildered eyes. He called himself a substitute for the meeting. Didn't they all stop calling before? Alas, there are still some issues with the Monkey King and other players fit in. I plan to let you play tomorrow, Jia Duobao sighed and responded truthfully, VC's last league, I don't want the team to rank too low. If it weren't for the golden finger, Wei Kai might have refused, but now that he has the golden finger, he definitely wouldn't have refused. He has gained more experience playing official games than usual. Thank you for the recommended tickets, brothers. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Good Circle. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Good Circle. VC's Training Room. Coach Jia Duobao looked serious as he reviewed today's 6 games for the other 4 players. Summer, you were too hesitant when making decisions today, especially in the last move where you were pulled to death one by one from the starting point. This is really unacceptable. Jiaduobo has focused all his attention on commanding the Summer, and the main target of the review is still the commander. After all, a team makes decisions as the commander, and if the team is not very good, the commander will have to bear the blame. When we were in the second circle, we were leaning towards the central area, but we need to be aware that that is the second circle, which has a high probability of being cut away. As we all know, when we cut the corner on the lower right, the area is no longer in the circle. Jia Duobao said, actually, before the third circle is refreshed and your position is still in the circle, you should think about what to do next if the circle cuts us away. This needs to be thought out in advance. You can't say that you wait until the circle is refreshed to think about what you should do. With all these ups and downs, when you leave, the blue circle may shrink. Summer, you chose to extend forward, but at this point, you need to pay attention to keeping the vehicle safe, because once the circle brushes you away, you can't play anymore and can only passively get beaten. In the end, you were eliminated because you didn't have a vehicle transfer and were eliminated one by others, right? Originally, you had knocked down SSS 2 people consecutively before. Why didn't you go and clear SSS? Is it a circular cut to the north? Seeing Summer nod, Jia Duobao said again, what are you thinking after the circle is refreshed? The vehicle has not been saved, and you do not have it. The positions of the 4 people are still so scattered. After being knocked down, teammates cannot even save them. Finally, 5v got close to the cemetery, Doem, you're actually in the restroom on the roadside. Either 4 people go directly to the cemetery and church to persuade and exchange points, or drive blindly to the center point. It's better to be eliminated one by one like this, Jia Duobao said and took a sip to moisten his throat. Your last game can be said to be chronic death. There is also the second desert map. After clearing all stars, why do you still stay on their low slope? They stay on that low slope because they need to defend against the teams entering the circle on the left side of the map to attack them. You don't have this concern, you need to consider the northern and southern teams, which can definitely step on the slope. It's right for the southern iFTY to focus on the northern team when attacking the housing area. However, after iFTY cleans up the housing area, you need to focus more on the southern team to prevent iFTY from pulling out of the housing area and touching your back. The positions of those 2 people in CBT have no operating space. There is 5v at close range and you can stick it close. As long as there is one person holding a gun, the other person should look at their back. You need to have a sense of crisis when playing games on the field. After iFTY cleaned up the area and did not engage in large-scale battles with other teams, you need to think about whether they have pulled out of the area to clean up you. iFTY definitely wants to maximize profits and score as many points as possible. He is the team that wants to compete for the championship. It is difficult for a team to win the championship as they are timid and hesitant. Then, Jia Duobao reviewed several other matches one by one. Tomorrow is the last day of this spring tournament and also our team's last league match. I don't want the team's final result to be so bad, so I plan to have Wei Kai replace Monkey King in tomorrow's 6 games. After finishing speaking, Jia Duobao glanced at the Monkey King and saw that he had no objections. He then continued, tomorrow, I hope the team can play more proactively, chase more points, and raise the ranking score as much as possible. Wei Kai, you can take on the role of battle commander tomorrow. You are responsible for commanding the team to fight, while Summer is responsible for selecting and operating the team's points. Be careful not to hesitate when making decisions, and plan the route to enter the circle in advance after the circle is swept away. Then, Jia Duobao instructed many things, such as having someone do things, taking and recording information, paying attention to details on the field, and so on. After the meeting ended, Wei Kai returned to his position and began packing his things. He had to move his equipment to the next training room. The live broadcast has been cancelled, brothers. This time, it's really cancelled. The anchor will be on stage tomorrow, and now we need to move the computer. After interacting with the fans in the live broadcast room for a few words, the room was closed. 5V, come and help. Wei Kai stopped him directly when he saw 5V walking past him. I said, why didn't you go clear the CBT and the other 2 people for the second desert map? Wei Kai tidied up and asked the 5V for information on the field. You can pull up a small slope and throw a few more flashes, then you can step on their heads and output freely. I'm afraid there's Rush B's gun thread. Nonsense. Wei Kai gave a white glance at 5V, with SMG's gun line, he can step on your head and hit you. No, G9 can reach the position on the edge of the circle, 5V defended, and he even fired a few shots at the CBT. That side smoke, Wei Kai said. I'm out of smoke, 5V said. I didn't bring much smoke, I brought thunder and lightning. Don't bring too many thunder, just 1 or 2 is enough. This version of thunder was severely weakened, and those who didn't know the sound of the explosion thought it was a falling cannon. As they spoke, the 2 of them moved Wei Kai's equipment into the training room. After adjusting the equipment, Wei Kai directly greeted 5V and said, come on, rank. I'm going to rest now. 5V refused Wei Kai's invitation and rubbed his arm. I'm exhausted from playing this game. Sitting there for over 3 hours is indeed quite tiring. Did you rest so early? No more training. Wei Kai was surprised. How could you sleep like this? It's the same to wake up early tomorrow and practice again, isn't it? 5V said, going to bed early and waking up early is good for my health. I'm still young, and I don't want to suffer from injuries like ZGG. ZGG is indeed suffering from injuries and is currently recovering at home. Looking at his phone, he said, it's already 11 o'clock now. After washing up, it's also 12 o'clock. After finishing speaking, he waved his hand and went to rest. Summer and Doem also left the training room early. After playing alone for 2 hours, Wei Kai simply washed and rested. The next day, Wei Kai woke up early and was pulled up by Wei Kai to train after his brothers woke up. Kai Gu, I didn't expect you to be so diligent. Doem sat on Wei Kai's left side and turned on the phone. Nonsense, I've always been so diligent when I started, okay. Wei Kai rolled his eyes. I'm someone who can train all night until 4 a.m., forget it. I haven't forgotten, Doem replied with a smile. After the arrival of 5V in summer, the training officially began. I don't ask for anything full of chicken to eat, Wei Kai and the other three said. It's just to fight with someone and find the texture. The other three have no objections. Coach Jia Duobao said yesterday that he needs to play more proactively today and show a hot hand. Time flies, and soon, a morning has passed. After having lunch and taking a break, it's time for the pre-competition training competition. The teams participating in the pre-match training are all the teams that will play tonight. In the past, pre-competition training matches were played by athletes upon arrival at the competition venue. One was to check their condition, and the other was to adjust the machine. Now, due to the mask, although the contestants cannot go to the venue, the pre-competition training has been retained because the contestants no longer have time to go to the venue, and the pre-competition training matches have also been improved by a few rounds. After playing a training game, Wei Kai was surprised to find that the experience gained from playing this training game was several times that of playing a regular game. That's really good. The experience gained from playing the pre-match training match, combined with the accumulation in the morning and last night, has already earned Wei Kai a skill point. How to use this skill point? Wei Kai began to think, should we accumulate skill points and exchange them for those special skills? After much thought, Wei Kai planned to focus on the reaction. After the system panel, it doesn't appear much anymore. Just remember to have this golden finger. Gradually, it was time for the competition. At this moment, the referee was also in place and took a chair to sit behind Wei Kai and his team. Everyone, get ready, the game is about to start. Quickly, the competition began and everyone entered the game, with a 2-minute countdown. After entering the game, Wei Kai opened the map and looked at the route. The route starts from Xiaoqing district and ends at N-Port. This route is a bit far from the VC in the jump shelter and upper wilderness area, and needs to float in the sky. As the countdown ends, the first match of the third day of the 2020 PCL Spring Championship final officially begins. There are jumping people around the farm and M City. It's RNG and NH. During the process of flying the umbrella, a circle is brushed out, forming an eastern circle. Nice. Good circle. Beautiful 1-inch Wei Kai and the other three were overjoyed and cheered when they saw that it was an eastern circle. The center of the circle is the Hall of Fame and the Tin House, which are the locations where VC searches for supplies. We are the center of the circle. There are no jumping people in the upper right corner of this route, Summer said. This means that the position in the circle is up to VC to choose. I went to Wekeaton Tower. Wei Kai landed and picked up a car before driving towards Wekeaton Tower. Although the Hall of Fame and the Tin House are located at the center of the circle, the material resources are only enough for one person to search. So, the Summer who received the car chose to go to a nursing home for development. The Tin House and Hall of Fame are being searched by 5V, while DOM is searching for air raid shelters. I'll step on this Wekeaton Tower and help me bring some supplies. Wekeaton Tower is a good spot in this circle, but the supplies are not very abundant. Okay, 5V and others responded. Wei Kai had just arrived at the Wekeaton Tower and not long after searching, the sound of Summer came from his headphones. I have someone here. What? Wei Kai was surprised when he heard this and glanced at the time in the upper right corner. It was only 3 minutes, and it had already been 2 minutes since they landed and picked up the car. How could this team be so fast? How many people? 1, he should be a team of big and small electricity, coming to grab a spot, Summer said in his own judgment. After Summer revealed their location, DOM and 5V immediately drove to support Summer. Summer didn't act immediately, his equipment was very poor, he only had one UZI in hand, but he had a third class. If there's one, you two can go help Summer, clear him up. If all 3 cleanups and one cannot be cleared, then the brothers should retire in a mess. In the live broadcast room of the competition, the guide gave the perspective to Wei Shen, who was driving the vehicle. Simba and Xiaotong, who were commenting on the game, saw Wei Shen already transferring and couldn't help but say, "It's so fast." On the last day of the finals, 3 minutes later, everyone started transferring. Look at Wei Shen's car, it's always moving towards the center of the circle. But there is a VC at the center of the circle. Where does Wei Shen want to go? Wekeaton Tower. But Wekeaton Tower has Wei Kai, who replaced Monkey King today. Wei Kai just landed and drove towards Wekeaton Tower. It's over, there's going to be an accident. Will Wei Kai have to deal with the boss on his first day back on the field? Another car has arrived, Summer said. I'm not sure how many. Another one has arrived. Upon hearing this news, Wei Kai planned to help his brothers. Coincidentally, he had searched for almost all the supplies in several houses in Wekeaton building and arrived at the first floor of the fake garage. Just now, Wei Kai hid his car inside the first floor of the fake garage. Wei Kai had just arrived at the fake garage when a good news came from the Summer in the nursing home. The Summer knocked down one with UZI. VC Summer used UZI to knock down DLG Tianqi. And directly replace it. Nice. As the words fell, Wei Kai's earphones heard a roar of car motors, coming from far to near. I have someone here, Wei Kai reported to several team members. Kai go, let's clear this last person and come to help you. The later DLG player has already been confirmed by 5V, and the other 2 DLG players have no plans to support them. Another wave of 3 cleanups, no problem. Wei Kai replied and squatted at the entrance of the small room on the first floor of the fake garage, propping up the door. This should be the head car of the scout. If I get rid of him, I'll just drive away and don't want the car anymore. Wei Kai had already made plans. I don't know which lucky one could become my first elimination today. End of this chapter. Chapter 5, Wei Shen. There is a tumor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5, Wei Shen. There is a tumor. Wei Kai is already ready, waiting for Wei Shen to deliver him to his door. Wei Shen won't see the information in the upper right corner, thinking that Wekeaton Tower is unoccupied. That 4 AM is going to suffer a lot. Just dropping one person at the beginning would be too hurtful. Unlike the 2 commentators who don't mind watching the excitement, the 4 AM fans in each live broadcast room are all howling in sorrow. This game has cooled down. Next round, next round. Give a free start, this game is gone. Kaizi, you said there's a script, you're going to tear it up. But there are still some optimistic fans among them. The pig's head worships the heavens with boundless power. You can always invite God to come to you. As is well known, 4 AM, 3 AM, 2 AM, 1 AM. Optimistic fans try to use these words to suit themselves. At this moment, Wei Shen did not know that there was already a hunter waiting for him to personally deliver him to his destination. Due to the route, this eastern circle was skipped. For the 4 AM with the jumping point being the center point of the school, excluding the indigenous VC, they are the first in order. Therefore, Wei Shen set off early in order to get a good spot. There was gunfire, it was quite intense. Approaching the Wekeaton Tower, Wei Shen also heard gunfire from the nursing home, VC, and DLG, and glanced at the information in the upper right corner. Is it VC and Big Wolf Dog? Upon seeing this, Wei Shen quickly inferred that it was DLG who saw this circle and planned to quickly seize the relatively good position in the nursing home. However, he did not expect that VC had someone searching for supplies there. In the game of survival in the Jedi, if the route is too far away from the route, some teams will give up their original jump points and directly take out a good position to the center of the circle for development when they see that their order is high. So when VC and DLG got into a fight in the nursing home, VC's team members should go to support their teammates, right? Then this Wekeaton Tower should be let go, right? Wei Shen thought to himself, isn't there anyone who won't go to support their teammates? No, right? But for some reason, Wei Shen had a bad premonition. In the live broadcast room of the competition, the guide seemed to know what the audience was concerned about, so he shifted his perspective to the side of Wekeaton Tower. Under the gaze of countless viewers in the live broadcast room, Wei Shen drove his jeep into the first floor of the fake garage. After seeing the jeep drive in, Wei Kai didn't rush to shoot. It wasn't until the entire jeep drove into the fake garage that Wei Kai pressed the left mouse button. Duh. Upon hearing the sudden sound of gunfire in his ear, Wei Shen trembled with fear, but his reaction was also quite quick. He switched directly to position 3 and wanted to counterattack, but unfortunately, he only managed to kill Wei Kai's health and did not succeed in the counterattack. VC Week used barrel M762 to knock down 4AM. We won less. The M762 without accessories is not very useful. The M762 in Wei Kai's hand only has a red dot scope, otherwise Wei Shen wouldn't have had the chance to get off the car and fight back. Wei Kai stepped forward and directly replaced Wei Shen, quickly scraping away the positions in Wei Shen's box. It is said that searching a city is better than waiting for a destined person, and Wei Shen is this destined person of Wei Kai. Lick all the drugs and accessories from Wei Shen's box, and Wei Kai will make a splash. Thank you for the supplies sent by the boss. He silently said to Wei Shen's box, then opened the door and left. Because there was another roar of cars coming from far to near from Wei Kai's earphones, Wei Kai guessed that it was the follow-up team of the 4AM. Since all the follow-up team members were arriving, Wei Kai had no time to move the car and had to walk away. Anyway, the nursing home was not far from this flying skyscraper. The two commentators in the live broadcast room felt regretful when they saw Wei Shen being repeatedly beaten and replaced. So at the beginning of the 4AM game, one player fell out, leaving only 3 players on the field. Losing one person at the beginning is really damaging for the 4AM, as it will affect their operations and tactical arrangements, especially when taking over the team. If the opponent is in a full formation, they will lose one gun directly compared to the opponent. In the base of 4AM, Wei Shen looked at the screen in front of him that had become dim. His face was shocked and he was a bit impatient. I vomited. How could there still be someone from VC here? Isn't VC fighting DLG? Ah Wei, how did you die? Asked the 3 teammates with a puzzled expression on their faces. There's Lao Lu in this fake garage, he's giving him a pussy. Sigh. Wei Shen calmed down for a moment, grabbed his hair, and looked very helpless. We've encountered a tumor. Can't Wei Kai's teammate help out in a fight? Just returned to the field and became a tumor. You startled me, he said, patting his own chest. Wei Kai made this move, clearly causing Wei Shen to be quite frightened. Do I still want to go? On the way, Exlo felt a bit confused when he saw Wei Shen being beaten and replaced by others. Go ahead, Wei Kai added my bag and ran away. Then he saw a knockdown message coming from the top right corner of the screen. One of DLG knocked down the 5V of VC and was then replaced by DOM after being knocked down. When Wei Shen got the message, he said to his staff with a silent face. All his teammates are still fighting with others, and he is 6 people outside. Wei Kai is really a stinking tumor. But Xiaolu, please wait a moment and always go with Xiaolong. The 3 of you are going together, be careful that he is a fake runner. Wei Shen transformed into the spring water commander and commanded his brothers. Originally, when Wei Shen planned to take a lap, he stepped on 2 people in Wekeaton Tower, one in Mickey Meow Meow house, and the remaining one stepped on the dirt slope on the roadside. But after losing himself, Wei Shen had no intention of letting the team continue to compete with each other, as the team was missing one person. On the other hand, Wei Kai bounced back to the nursing home, and coincidentally, his teammates cleared the remaining DLG team member, allowing Wei Kai to come and lick his bags. 5V, why were you hit by someone else? Wei Kai asked. When he saw 5V being knocked down by the person across from him, Wei Kai's heart was in his throat, afraid that 5V would be directly replaced by the person across from him. I was hit a bit by the opponent, 5V said. I was hit first by the opponent, and even hit the opponent in the opposite direction, leaving him with residual blood. If I were to face the gun head-on, I could thin his veil. The voice is full of confidence. A bloody hook, I shot him many times before killing him when I tried to repair the gun, Doem said. If there is no residual blood, then at least half of the blood has been used, defended 5V. It doesn't matter if you have blood or not, as long as you haven't lost someone, Summer said. If he had forced you to repair it, it would be too uncomfortable for us to lose one person. I got 3 knockouts at the beginning, with 3 guaranteed points. This is really a comfortable start. By the way, are we in the nursing home now? Should we find a place to step in? Wei Kai asked the Summer. At this point in time, some places should be occupied by people. Summer marked a point on the map. Take a look at this place. If no one steps on it, we'll split it into 2 people. Wei Kai opened the map and saw that the Summer marker was the walled room above the Hall of Fame. Just a small bungalow with a toilet. Do you want to step there? Wei Kai had some doubts about this decision, as this walled house had nowhere to go and was only chosen as a last resort. It's only 1 lap now, you can step on it, Summer said. Afterwards, 5V and Doem drove to the walled house. End of this chapter. Chapter 6, Forever. I think we can deduct his salary. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6, Forever. I think we can deduct his salary quickly. As time passed, the second lap refreshed and became a northbound cut. At this point, the Wekeaton tower that 4AM stepped on became the center of the circle. Sleeping in the groove, the center of the circle. Seeing his team's position becoming the center of the circle, Wei Shen was a bit happy, but soon couldn't be happy because he had already been eliminated. The joy of this move belongs to his teammates. If I were still on the field, how comfortable should I be playing this game? If I had parked my car outside and searched carefully before, maybe I could have killed Wei Kai's tumor. Wei Shen felt very regretful for his careless behavior before. Wei Kai had a little pony when he hit me. If I had searched a bit, I might have been able to kill him back. On the side, with a detached personality, I can never let go of the fact that my boss has been bullied by Wei Kai for a long time. I joked, why not deduct his salary directly? Ah. Will his salary be deducted? Wei Shen was amused by the phrase, forever. Xu also smiled and said, that's right, deduct his salary. No, let him not come back and continue wandering outside. The shy little dragon followed with a smile. Let's forget it, at least they have also helped us with our 4AM. Wei Shen smiled slightly and his mood improved a lot. Previously, during the 2018 Berlin tournament, Wei Kai replaced Aruka on the field because the whole team was in poor form and the results were very poor. After replacing Wei Kai, the results did not improve immediately, and someone blamed Wei Kai for it. At that time, after the game was over, Wei Kai still came to me to complain. Wei Shen imitated Wei Kai's tone at the time and said, Wei, why are everyone cursing me? Even though my performance is similar to mine, he still holds the position of God of War. He always uses anything good first, and only then can he kill more than me. Why don't everyone scold him? After Wei Mythos finished speaking, his entire voice was filled with laughter and joy. At that time, Wei Kai was almost depressed, so it was better not to deduct his salary. On the other side of the VC, Wei Kai didn't know that he would always encourage the boss to deduct his salary with Xiaolu. The boss was telling the story of a few years ago. Wei Kai is currently observing the shape of the circle, and the nursing home they are stepping on is still in the circle. However, Wei Kai has already begun to think about how to create the next circle. Seeing this circle refresh, 5V and Doem directly released the walled room and chose to merge directly. Don't come to the nursing home, go and get the L room on the right side of the road. Wei Kai thought for a moment and immediately instructed 5V and Doem. If someone takes the L room and then the circle cuts north, it will be a bit difficult for us to fight. Wei Kai said, once the team that steps on the L room pulls out people and occupies the forest north of us, it will be difficult for us to fight in the future. The forest in the north of the nursing home is an excellent location for ambushing people. There is a depression, small hills, and many soil slopes as well as numerous stones and trees around it. This circle is going to eliminate the horseshoe mountain of the prison, so it is likely to cut north. If it cuts north, then the nursing home is on the edge of the circle. What if we cut south? What if we take the L room and get hit by someone, asked 5V. If someone collides, then why don't you remove all their thin gauze? In this way, the elimination number has increased, and the housing area has also increased. 5V, I casually boast about being amazing, buddy. How come you take it seriously? No, if L room is hit, teammates won't have time to support. Then trample on the forest to the north, Summer made a decision. Yes, no matter what, the forest in our north cannot be trampled on by others, said Wei Kai. Remember to hide the car when you get there, maybe it can be too creepy. Okay, the two responded. Okay, the circle refreshes, it's a northern circle. At this point, the southern teams start to move towards the circle, and the two VC players also choose to return to the nursing home to gather. Simba and Xiaotong can clearly see through the panoramic map provided by the guide that as the circle refreshes, many teams begin to operate directly. However, from the map, it seems that the direction of the team's operation is nursing homes. Yes, it's NH and DLG. Is this a collision point? NH may not know about the situation in the nursing home, but DLG must know. The two brothers were trapped in this nursing home before. Summer and Wei Kai from the nursing home have come out to sweep the car. NH and DLG are ready to turn around and leave when they see that your firepower is too fierce. They plan to continue circling. But can we walk away? Duh. Pop, pop, pop. Seeing a car driving towards their position, Wei Kai and Summer fired their guns to drive them away. It was only 2 laps now, and there was basically no team leader's choice to directly hit a guarded spot, especially in the first round on the last day of the finals. Now everyone has hope of chasing points, and everyone wants to improve their ranking and compete for a spot in the intercontinental competition. The teams who wanted to come to the nursing home received fierce firepower from Wei Kai and Summer, and they all planned to turn and leave. The tire is bursting, the tire is bursting. The tire is gone. Wei Kai shouted excitedly, his M762's crazy strafing finally blew up the tire of a Jeep. The tire sweeping was a common technique used by professional players to sweep medium-distance vehicles in the future. If you press the shift button while driving, the tire will be blown off, and the car will slip. Once the car slips, the professional player will directly switch to sniper shooting. Those with poor luck will be pointed out by the sniper when the vehicle slips, while those with better luck will be able to get off the car and seal off their cigarettes to survive, but the final outcome remains the same, with only one word for death. Wei Kai switched to a sniper and fired at Summer while shouting, "Summer, shoot him." VC Week used SLR to knock down NHWSS. VC Summer eliminated NHWSS using SLR. Passing through here incurs tolls, Wei Kai felt relieved as another elimination was recorded. Wei Kai's car sweeping is so clever, Simba couldn't help but sigh upon seeing this scene. The transferred vehicles are actually a certain distance away from Wei Kai and Summer. If they were to sweep people, they might not be able to sweep them off. Therefore, Wei Kai chose to sweep the tires directly, causing the WSS vehicle to slip, and then used a sniper to easily knock it off. Yes, everyone can actually learn something, Xiaotong said. Nowadays, in competitions, it seems that not many people choose to clean their tires directly. Just as Wei Kai was immersed in the joy of harvesting the human head, the headphones came with 5V and DOM sounds. People have entered room L so fast. Wei Kai quickly greeted 5V and Do-em, saying, "You two are directly ambushing there. They are likely to pull out people. Okay. Summer, should you also help the two of them?" Wei Kai said to Summer, and then Wei Kai drew a line on the map. "Summer, stay within the range of this line. When they start fighting at 5V, you might be able to hit their side. Can we just leave you on this side?" "Okay, I'll hold off if anyone comes, waiting for your support." The main building of the nursing home is quite complex, enough for Wei Kai to drag it down. "Or as long as someone comes, I'll run away and run straight towards you." End of this chapter. Chapter 7, Sleeping Trough, They're Going to Bump Into Me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7, Sleeping Trough, They're Going to Bump Into Me. The team that is currently stepping on the L room mentioned by Wei Kai is the SSS team. Not long after they stepped on the L room, as Wei Kai had said, two contestants pulled out of the room and headed towards the small forest north of the nursing home. Zbei and Mamu, two contestants, walked together. They didn't know that on this trip, they would be gone forever. "Someone's here, someone's here." 2 steps. "Can Summer hit their flank?" "I saw it, but there wasn't a good output point," Summer said. There were too many obstacles in this area. Although Summer saw his side, he wasn't sure he would be the first to knock down one. In order not to startle the enemy, Summer didn't choose to take action. "So Summer, go keep an eye on the people in room L and see if they will pull out to help when they see their teammates being ambushed. As long as 5V and Do-em can quickly destroy the 2 people pulled out, then the people in room L should not be pulled out." "Okay. The 2 people pulled out by 5V and Do-em, you 2 can solve it on your own, right?" "No problem," the 2 brothers responded. If the 2 brothers are killed in rebellion, why not retire? In the live broadcast room of the competition, 2 commentators saw SSS pulling out 2 contestants from the room to the forest north of the nursing home, and couldn't help but feel worried about those 2 contestants. Are Zbei and Mamu going to that forest? But VC has already lurked 5V and Do-em there, and Summer's attention is also on this side. The SSS brothers will be gone. There are too many points to search for in this area, and there may be hidden people behind any cover. Moreover, the 2 VC players have not missed any information. Listening to the footsteps coming closer and closer in their headphones, 5V and Do-em identified the approximate location of the incoming person based on the footsteps, and the 2 briefly exchanged ideas. The 2 sides are getting closer. Can Zbei and Mamu sense anyone here? 5V took the lead and knocked down Zbei. "Sleeping Trough, there's someone." The 2 SSS players were startled. Mamu found a cover and threw a grenade towards the direction where Zbei was reporting, but his own position was already locked by Do-em. Do-em threw a flash towards his position, and the ringing effect of the flash when it exploded covered up Do-em's footsteps. Mamu's heart, which was whitened by the flashing light, has cooled down a bit. There's still one more. There are 2 people ambushed here. Hurriedly threw the grenade with the ring removed from his hand. With the crisp explosion of the grenade, Mamu was also directly cleared by Do-em. No surprise, these 2 SSS players were eliminated by the 5V and Do-em lurking here, and the 2 VC players were able to supply a wave of supplies. Including these 2 eliminations, VC now has 6 eliminations. If we get some ranking points in eliminations in the future, it will be another high-scoring game. At the same time, Wei Kai saw someone sticking to the large reverse slope of the 4AM Wekeaton building in the 2nd floor sunlight room outside the fence of the nursing home. Someone posted the Wekeaton tower, Wei Kai quickly reported to his brothers. 5V and Do-em, maybe we can go and persuade them later. Summer, you can continue to choose a place to bury it there. That forest cannot be let go unless the next circle, which is a 4-dot circle south cut, is formed. Wei Kai glanced at the time and saw that there were still more than 10 seconds left for 4 laps to refresh. After the 4 laps were refreshed, the entire competition field would become lively. The most exciting part of the PlayerUnknown survival game was that it mostly happened after the circle refresh in Stage 4. Upon hearing Wei Kai's instructions, 5V and Dum moved towards the nursing home. Then, Wei Kai discovered that someone was driving a jeep between blue and white, and the group of people who posted it on the Wekeaton tower did not shoot it. It was likely that they were in the same group as those who posted it on the Wekeaton tower, Wei Kai guessed. So he used his SLR to shoot at the jeep that was driving. In professional competitions, the average professional athlete will shoot a vehicle in front of them, regardless of whether they can point the person off the vehicle or not. If you click on it, you can earn money. If you can't click on it, you can inform the opponent. If someone is here, drive them away. If the opponent is determined to hit their own point, they can also know it in a timely manner and inform their teammates to defend. You knock down star monsters using SLR. Wei Kai just fired a few shots at the jeep, and this line of small characters appeared in the middle of the screen in front of him. Is this guy with residual blood? Through the 8x mirror installed on the SLR, Wei Kai clearly saw that the driver in the driver's seat of the jeep was shot and then fired. The jeep lost power and slowly stopped because of inertia sliding forward for a distance. And Wei Kai focused his attention on the other 3 contestants of All-Star who were stuck on the big reverse slope of the Wekeaton tower. He was in a position where he could draw their flanks. At this moment, within the All-Star team, the commander monsters saw that he had been eliminated by a VC player, and in addition, 2 VC players each eliminated 1 SSS player in the upper right corner of the screen. At that time, there was no gunfire in the nursing home, and only 1 gun was pointing at him, and the person who shot at him was in the sunlight room outside the nursing home wall. So, monsters inferred that the 2 contestants who had posted information in the upper right corner of the VC should have stepped on a small forest north of the nursing home. There should only be 2 in the nursing home, and the location of 1 person has been determined, right outside the fence in the sunny room. With this in mind, monsters, who had just been eliminated by Wei Kai, immediately thought of the next decision and transformed into the Spring Commander. Brothers, get on the car, there is only 1 person in the sunshine room, go and hit him, hit the nursing home. I won't hit Weishenlu anymore. For All-Star, it's a bit difficult to hit Weishenlu from his position unless he throws a grenade into the house and uses it to break points. However, this version weakens the grenade into a catapult, greatly weakening its ability to break points. During the attack, they also faced gunfire from the direction of the nursing home. The gunfire from the nursing home undoubtedly helped the team of Weishenlu weaken their own side. In addition, when they engaged in a close battle with Weishenlu's defense team, the team in the left golden house may come to persuade and collect a score, which All-Star could not accept. Upon receiving the command's decision, the remaining 3 All-Star team members on the field immediately boarded the vehicle and started it. At this point, the circle is refreshed and 4 circles are drawn, forming a concentric circle closer to the north. It has swept away both the nursing home and the flying skyscraper. However, this circle shape is still acceptable for VC because only the nursing home has been cleared, and the small forest in the north is still within the circle. There are still many parts within the circle. Fortunately, we stepped on this small forest first, otherwise it would have been us who were ambushed later. VC's 3 brothers were very grateful to hear Wei Kai's words and stepped on this small forest first. Hey, they got on the car, are they going to stab directly? Wei Kai observed All-Star's 3 buddies' high-speed trains through an 8-fold mirror, began to speculate on their decision, and reported this information to his teammates. The All-Star high-speed train that posted on the Wekeaton tower has left, I don't know what to do. They're going to hit me. End of this chapter. Chapter 8, I just wanted to show off and wear it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8, I just wanted to show off and wear it. The circle was refreshed, and as usual, the guide provided a panoramic map in the live broadcast room of the competition. All-Star's high-speed train has left, and he thinks it's not easy to hit this flying skyscraper, but where is he going? Are he going straight into the circle or around? No, looking at their movements on the map, it seems like they're going to crash into the sunshine room. Seeing All-Star going to crash into the sunshine room, the two commentators were a bit puzzled. The circle was refreshed, and this nursing home is no longer in the circle. But it's still okay, VC only has Wei Kai guarding the nursing home. From the map, it can be seen that two members of the VC team are still on their way back to the nursing home. As long as All-Star beats Wei Kai without dropping anyone, he can also play a 3-on-3 game against the VC's defensive players in the future. On the VC side, it depends on how many games Wei Kai can play. If you knock down one and then make up for it, it will be easier for your teammates to defend. On the VC side, upon learning that someone was coming, 5V and DOM accelerated their pace, and even Summer took defensive measures. Kai Gu, hold on, we'll be there soon. No, you guys don't come back. At this moment, Wei Kai asked the three brothers not to go back on guard. Let's let the nursing home go. Anyway, it's not in the circle anymore. The grove is still in the circle. If you come back and fight with All-Star, then the two remaining SSS people from L room may come out and take over the grove. Running outside the circle to fight with other teams is undoubtedly an unwise choice when there is a good spot to step on within the circle. For the sake of the team, Wei Kai plans to sacrifice himself. A team of three still has a certain level of combat effectiveness. You just need to hold on to the edge of the circle and wait for them to come. This way, for VC, it's my advantage. After all, VC is the defensive side, and with the help of the blue circle contracting behind All-Star, the blue circle in the fourth stage is very painful. As Wei Kai spoke, he was thinking about strategies for dealing with the enemy. 3 people, 2 cars, which means 1 car has 2 people, and I can forget it, I don't want to. Anyway, I have to send it to play with some flowers, Wei Kai thought to himself. At the window on the second floor, using M762, he fired a shot at the 2 cars speeding towards him. Wei Kai swept back into the window, pinched and dodged the ring, and threw it low out of the window. The All-Star contestants on the vehicle saw Wei Kai throwing something out of the window. The 3 of them thought it was a grenade and were not panicked. The grenade would explode for a certain period of time after being thrown, unless it was a pre-pinched grenade. However, Wei Kai swept their car before and undoubtedly did not have time to pinch the grenade. He had enough time to avoid the damage of the grenade. Moreover, the damage of this version of the grenade is not very good. But just as they were about to collide with the sunroom, the entire screen instantly turned snow-white, turning their faces white. Ward FA. On the second floor, Wei Kai first heard the sound of a flash bomb exploding, followed by 2 sounds of vehicles hitting the wall. From the sound, Wei Kai knew that both cars had collided directly in front of the sunroom. So, the flash must be white. So, without saying a word, Wei Kai flipped down from the window on the second floor. As the character fell, Wei Kai first looked to the right and saw a character from an All-Star player blocking his face with his left hand on the other side of the vehicle. Undoubtedly, he was blinded by a flash grenade. In the survival of the Jedi, characters cannot be shot with the camera on when they fall, and Wei Kai can only shoot them without the camera on. It should be noted that shooting bullets without the camera on during the survival of the Jedi is very floating, which makes the jeep around him block many bullets. However, fortunately, he was swept by Wei Kai before, and his speed was too fast. If he collides with the wall of the house, his health will be deducted, so as long as 1 or 2 bullets float onto him, he will fall to the ground. After knocking it down, Wei Kai also landed. At the moment of landing, Wei Kai quickly turned around and wanted to hit the enemy on the left who had come down from the driver's seat. He opened the mirror and instantly knocked down the enemy who was covering his eyes. Then, without turning off the mirror, he directly pulled his gun towards the All-Star team member who got off from the co-pilot, and at this point, the effect of the flash bullet also passed. Amidst the cheers of his teammates, he quickly reacted and, with the help of a jeep separated from each other, engaged in a gunfight with the Weka peak. Oh no, we're out of bullets. While squatting up and peeking at each other's guns with the last team member of will start, Wei Kai found that the M762 in his hand was out of bullets. Although the M762 in Wei Kai's hand has been expanded, the initial scanning and firing of two people consumed a large amount of bullets, and with the final gun pairing, the final bullets of the M762 in Wei Kai's hand were also depleted. Wekeaton horizontally switched to SLR, then pressed the F key to switch seats and get off the car. Before the other side could react, Wei Kai, who got off the car, used SLR to eliminate him. A burst of screen scrolling. VC Weak uses barrel M762 to knock down will start. 91 Carl VC Weak uses barrel M762 to knock down will start. WNNNB VC Weak eliminated will start longed using SLR, sleeping slot. Bully. Kai Gu. Nice. Wherefore? The three brothers of VC saw Wei Kai flashing his screen for a while and shouted wildly, even the usually calm Summer was thrilled. Wei Kai raised his lips and chuckled lightly, enjoying the cheers of his teammates. Did you get any points for this'll start? Wei Kai asked his teammate with a smile. I don't know, you should have scored 2 or 3 points, Summer thought for a moment and said, seeing the message in the upper right corner that will start scored. It's only 2 or 3 points, Wei Kai chuckled lightly. Now SMG and iFTY are still on the field, it seems that the difference in points is getting closer. Before the start of today, will start score was 105 points, leading second place SMG 13 by 92 points, third place iFTY 18 by 87 points, and fourth place Jianba by 20 points with 85 points. The score obtained in this round is pitifully low, while the other 3 teams are still on the field. After playing this round, the score difference will definitely be narrowed. If Ulstart doesn't win the championship in the end, this is definitely a foreshadowing. If they didn't win the championship, they would definitely hate you. 5V laughed. Ah, I just want to show off, who knew I could get them through? Wei Kai said he was very innocent. When he was watching a game before his rebirth, he saw a player who was hit by an IBSA and did not choose to directly face the gun. At that time, although the IBSA was hit by a wave, it was still very strong, especially on relatively flat roads. Because when facing the IBSA, you were shooting a moving target, while he was shooting a fixed target. So, he used a flash grenade instead of a grenade, which is not easy to predict an explosion event, threw the flash on the necessary path of the vehicle, causing the 2 people on the vehicle, the driver, and the player in charge of IBZA to be defeated, and then easily accepted the 2 eliminated players. The technique of changing positions and gaining operational space by getting on the car and cutting seats is also a technique commonly used by professional athletes in the future, often used to complete highlight operations, such as XDD. Unlike the excited VC, several contestants from Ulstart looked at the dimly lit screen in front of them with a surprised expression. Are we just being warned like this? How could this person lose a flash? In theory, being stuck close to the house area should not be due to throwing advanced thunder or blocking the route due to fire. Why doesn't this person play cards according to common sense? How else can this flash be played? Now that the grenade has been weakened, some professional players have also tried to bring the flash, but have not really taken it seriously. The last wave of pulling the gun didn't come over. Long looked regretful as he stood up to peek and saw the silhouette of Wei Kai getting into the car, but the gun didn't come over. It's not your fault, the team member comforted in a voice. Basically, all professional players choose to lower the DPI of the mouse and the sensitivity in the game in order to control the gun well, which makes the control stable, but sometimes it can be difficult to pull the gun. End of this chapter. Chapter 9, Spring Championship is Toxic. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9, Spring Championship is Poisonous, It's Okay, Brothers. Monsters saw the team members feeling unhappy and depressed because they were wearing clothes, so he quickly spoke out to comfort them. At this point, among the 4 team members of All-Star, Monsters was the only one who was in a good mood. After all, he was hit while his health was not healthy on the vehicle, so it can only be said that he was unlucky, unlike the other 3 who were showcased by Wei Kai. Our score is still quite ahead, as long as we can consistently score in the next 5 matches, then the champion will be ours. Monsters cheered on his teammates, fearing that the team's morale would collapse, causing their mentality to explode, leading to the big guy's actions starting to deform and failing to win the final championship trophy. During the competition, no matter what, one must have a good mentality, otherwise the more they play, the more difficult it becomes, the less tactile it feels, and the more they play, the more self-reliant they become, falling into a vicious cycle. For the championship, come on. As Monsters continued to encourage his teammates, the faces of the 3 teammates gradually changed from dark to clear. Seeing their expressions regain calmness, Monsters breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. The game started from the regular season and ended on the last day of the final. After playing for so many days, Monsters didn't want to fail in the final moments. In the live broadcast room of the competition, the guide did not consider the feelings of the victims and directly replayed Wei Kai's previous operation. Previously, the live broadcast room provided Wei Kai's perspective. This time, the guide was afraid that the audience might not see some details clearly, so he chose slow motion and thoughtfully showed the audience 3 perspectives. All-Star perspective, God perspective, and Wei Kai's perspective. Wow, including the monsters that were eliminated before, Wei Kai's performance this time is a 1 in 1, 1 in 4. Wei Kai's operation was also amazed by the 2 commentators. All-Star's 3 brothers would never have thought that they would end up colliding with a person stationed in a sunny room. The main issue was that All-Star hit in too direct a direction, right in front of the sunroom, which caused Wei Kai's flash grenade to turn them all white. They couldn't escape at all. Yes, they were whitened by the flash while still in the car. But it has to be said that Wei Kai's courage is still too great. Who would have thought he would just flip down the window and hit someone? Yes, right. At first, I thought Wei Kai wanted a flash bomb to drag time, but he flipped it over and hit everyone. All-Star is the first of the 16 teams to be eliminated, so the difference in points with the top few will be shortened. The championship still has suspense. The other side of the 4AM taxi drivers were all stunned when they saw Wei Kai wearing the All-Star. Sleeping in a slot, my Kaiga is amazing. Wei Shen, who transformed into a box spirit, saw the message flashing on the screen in the upper right corner and smiled. Is this the first one to return to the competition wearing 4? My Kaiga is in such good form, why didn't Jia Duobao let him play earlier? Do you have any objections to my Kaiga? Wei Shen couldn't help but joke. That's it. Forever and Xiaolu agreed with Wei Shen and joked together, find my brother Kai and let him kill all directions. Will the champion of this spring competition still be easily won? However, even if my brother Kai kills recklessly and carries the 5v drag bottle, he may not necessarily achieve good results. At this time, I never forget to lose 5v. At this moment, Long Zi suddenly spoke out, the people from the Golden House are moving, it seems like they are coming towards us. As the words fell, Eternal and Little Deer, who were still giggling, immediately regained their spirits. Come on brothers. Seeing someone coming to fight, Wei Shen, as a box spirit, can only silently cheer for his teammates. On the other side, Wei Kai is comfortably licking his bag and replenishing supplies. Don't forget to glance at the information in the upper right corner while licking your bag. The message of SMG being eliminated appeared in the upper right corner. The last 2 people of SMG, 17 SHOU and Fortress, were eliminated by LYG's M1 Go and Crazy 112, respectively. Oh, SMG was eliminated by LYG. This SMG, isn't this one also not scoring? Yes, Summer answered Wei Kai's question. SMG had knocked down people before, but they didn't make up for it. The second place SMG did not score, which is a good thing for All-Star. It depends on how many points iFTY and Tianba can score. After licking All-Star's box, Wei Kai heard gunshots and grenade explosions coming from the Wekeaton tower. Did someone post the flying skyscraper of 4 AM again? Hearing gunshots, the two sides seemed to be fighting fiercely. You could go and have a fight, Wei Kai thought to himself. At this point, the director's perspective also reached the Wekeaton tower on the side of 4 AM. At this time, CBT posted it on the 4 AM Wekeaton tower, and the position they posted it on was better than All-Star's before, so it wouldn't be affected by gun wires from the sunshine room. But now, with the refreshing of the circle, this flying tower is not in the circle. CBT should think that it's not easy to move on next and plan to exchange points on the edge of the circle. Dragon Z knocked down one and directly repaired it, but there was still one stone on the car body that was knocked down. So the current situation is 3 against 2, and there is still no advantage in numbers for 4 AM, but with the help of the blue circle. It depends on how the remaining 4 AM handles this situation. Well, it all depends on the performance of Forever and Little Deer. The strength of these two players is also good. At this moment, Simba was surprised to find. Looking at the small map in the bottom right corner, the Wei Kai high-speed train is coming this way. Is VC trying to persuade it? But it seems that only Wei Kai's familiar style has arrived. Actually, Wei Kai is not the only one. Wei Kai even called over a 5V and asked Doem and Summer to keep an eye on the SSS in Room L. Approaching the Wekeaton tower, Wei Kai turned off the engine and slid onto the large slope on the right side of the building. He got off the car and slowly touched it upwards. Although the blue circle had already begun to shrink at this point, Wei Kai was not worried about it. In order to come here and get some points, he brought many medical kits. Moreover, Wei Kai came here not only to score points, but also to get stuck in the Wekeaton tower, so he called 5V. As long as Wekeaton towers 4 AM and CBT are all eliminated, VC will be the only team on the south side of the circle. However, Wei Kai did not let the 5V directly stick to his side, but let him stick it to the north position of the Wekeaton tower. Duh. With the sound of gunfire, new information appeared in the upper right corner. 4 AM Forever knocked down CBT.XKKK with M416 pop head. After being knocked down, there were bursts of gunshots. 4 AM Forever phased out CBT.XKKK using M416 through this gunshot. Wei Kai identified the fake garage on the first floor that would always be above him. So, as Wei Kai gradually groped upwards and was about to reach the top, another gunshot rang out. CBT M9XXX knocked down 4 AM Forever with M416 pop head, always after replacing the CBT player who was knocked down by oneself, being caught and clicked down while running back. M9XXX wants to make up for the falling Forever. At this moment, the little deer promptly replenished its gun, disabled it, and had to lie behind the cover and apply medicine. The CBT player who had previously dug out of a small room on the first floor of the fake garage could only choose to frame a gun for his teammate and fired a few shots towards the deer's position, trying to restrain the deer from attacking his teammate who was being drugged. The fallen Forever took a breath and quickly controlled the character to climb towards the corner, hoping to avoid the CBT's gun line and avoid being replaced by others. Climbing to the corner of the wall, he always controlled the character to climb towards the wall. Just as he always thought he was safe, he suddenly realized that a head with a second-level helmet had popped out on the reverse slope. Seeing a fallen person in front of him, Wei Kai smiled at it without hesitation. You used barrel M762 to eliminate 4 AM Forever, sleeping Trough. How could someone come out here? Forever with a shocked expression, I'm a fool. Wei Kai fired a gun to repair the permanent head, but the sound of the gun also exposed his own existence. Duh. The little deer still on the field directly swept a barrage of ammunition at Wei Kai, leaving Wei Kai with no health left and only able to retract and deflect the medicine. Muggle, Wei Dang is really accurate, Wei Kai said while beating blood, unable to compete with him. Seeing Wei Kai recoil, Little Deer cuts thunder, but the target is not Wei Kai, but a CBT player who has just been beaten to health by himself. Little Deer plans to defeat the enemy in front of him. However, behind him, he was injured by gunfire from other teams in the distance. Helplessly, he chose a rough direction, took the grenade in his hand, and pushed it towards an abandoned car ahead, using it as a cover and lying behind to spray medicine. Fortunately, the two CBT players did not look at him. One had just started bleeding and heard the sound of a grenade landing, so they chose to avoid it. Another reason was that due to the approaching blue circle and the increased health of teammates, they did not choose to continue fighting against the deer, but instead chose to flip through the window and enter the fake garage. Next, the Little Deer's operation once again stunned two commentators. After the Little Deer was drugged, he stood up and pressed E, then turned his head to the right to search for the position of the CBT player who had been disabled by him before. However, there was a CBT player lying in front of the Little Deer, and due to the vegetation cover, the person only showed a little backpack, but the Little Deer seemed to have not seen it. Similarly, due to the vegetation cover, the CBT player lying on the ground did not see the Little Deer. Unable to find the CBT player for a while, Xiaolu directly chose to pull his perspective to the left and switched to the left probe. He knew that there was another CBT player in the fake garage. The Little Deer pulled the camera and happened to spot the CBT player. 4AM.XXX Lu knocked down CBT.567 Cal using M416 after knocking it down, quickly pull the gun and look to the right. The CBT player lying on the ground, seeing the deer shooting his team member, wanted to get up and seize the opportunity to shoot the deer. Unfortunately, in the survival of the Jedi, there is a process of wanting to lie on the ground. He was hit first by the deer. 4AM.XXX Lu phased out CBT at M9XXX using M416. Xiaolu chose to first crack down on the fake garage's 567, and then pulled a gun to shoot the last person. Wow, limit, this is really the 1-2 of limits. Extreme operation, this reaction speed is very fast. However, it was eventually taken away by the blue circle. Wei Kai picked up his medical bag and after drinking a bottle of water, he heard a fierce gunfire erupt nearby. In the upper right corner, there was a message of a deer wearing 2 and being taken away by a blue circle. Wearing 2. It's truly PCL's only quadruple crown, Wei Kai couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Of course, De Inga is not the only quadruple crown now, he has only won the league championship once. The reason why he is said to be the only 4-time champion of PCL is that 4AM has won the championship in the 2019 PCL Summer, 2020 PCL Autumn, 2021 PCL Spring, and 2023 PCL Spring respectively in the PCL League. He is a player who plays on the field every time the team wins the league championship. After the deer was taken away by the blue circle, Wei Kai didn't stop here and shouted for 5V to enter the circle. 5V was called by Wei Kai and didn't do anything, so he went back. After Wei Kai and 5V entered the circle's shape also refreshed, forming the southern circle. The small hill and the small forest that Summer and Doem are stepping on is still within the circle. At this time, on the south side of the road in the circle, there is only the VC team. Good circle. Seeing this circle, Wei Kai directly greeted 5V and said, 5V, the two of us should step on the hill in the lower left corner of the safety zone. What should Summer and Doem do? 5V asked. After this circle is refreshed, the SSS in Room L is no longer in the circle. He may come and collide with us. There are only 2 people left in SSS, 2 on 2. We are the defensive team, and SSS still has to face the contraction of the blue circle. Our advantage lies in us, said Wei Kai. 5V, you need to have confidence in your teammates. I'll leave this to Doem and Doem, it's okay, Summer said. Yes, they're both 2 on 2, would we be afraid of them? Doem also said, having at least fought against top foreign teams on the international stage. So it was decided that the VC's 2 and 2 steps directly controlled the southern part of the road in the circle. Wei Kai and 5V arrived at the top of the mountain and, relying on the height of the mountain, observed the information at the Y City police station inside and outside the circle. That's iFTY and KX over there. On the hill, Wei Kai observed through an 8-fold mirror in his hand that someone was attacking a bungalow near the police station. Combining the constant gunshots around the police station and the information in the upper right corner, Wei Kai understood that it was iFTY who brushed them out of the circle, and they began cleaning up their neighbor KX. 5V, see if we can knock down and replace one. Understood. The iFTY attacking KX saw someone shooting at them from the mountain behind them. They sealed themselves with some smoke to block the sight of Wei Kai and 5V, and consciously avoided Wei Kai and 5V's gun line while attacking KX. Afterwards, 3 KX team members were successfully locked in a small bungalow, where they continuously threw harmful projectiles such as incendiary flasks and grenades. Finally, a corner grenade was used to eliminate the 3 unhealthy KX team members hiding in the toilet inside the bungalow. 1 thunder and 3 sounds. Sleeping in the trough, 1 thunder and 3 sounds. 5V was stunned and said, "Are you so lucky?" KX's brothers should have all huddled in the same room and been given a bunch of hurtful projectiles by the iFTY people. iFTY is going to chase points this time, Wei Kai said. We'll start is going to be uncomfortable, the difference in points is going to narrow. However, the champion of the spring competition is toxic, so it's good not to win. The reason why it is said to be toxic is that the champion VC of the 2019 spring competition has now been confirmed to be scattered. The 2020 spring tournament champion will start also disbanded shortly after winning the championship. The champion of the 2021 spring tournament, 4AM, directly pulled his hips after winning this championship and reorganized in 2023. NH, the champion of the 2022 spring tournament, struggled in the World Championship but did not advance to the final. After winning the 2023 Spring Champion 4AM, he pulled his legs in the final of PGS1. End of this chapter. Chapter 10, iFTY. Didn't they leave? How did you come back again? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10, iFTY. Didn't they leave? How did you come back again? Brothers, the people from the walled house have left by high-speed train, as if they are heading towards both sides of Summers Road North. On the small hill, Wei Kai observed that in this circle, the person staying in the wall house closest to the center of the circle was moving away, and the direction of the vehicle was towards the double house on Summer's side. He immediately reported this information to his brothers. This walled house consists of a triangular house and a small bungalow with a surrounding wall, while the other side of the double house has a 3-story building with a fake garage. It's for the first team. Summer saw that the contestants in the double room didn't sweep the oncoming car, but instead made it stick to the closer spot, which was undoubtedly for the first team. They let go of the walled house near the center point and gathered in a double room. Are they betting on the next round right cut? It should be, even if they cut off their double room in the next circle, they can still get a good score by circling. Summer said, "Just now I saw a team from outside the circle going to the upper right corner of the building area." SSS, on the other hand, drove to the wild area on the right side of the double room, found a tree, and set up a car formation, lying there with autism. Due to the refreshing of the circle, RNG gritted its teeth and created a triangular house that crashed into the top right corner of the safety zone where Tianba was staying. They knew that Tianba had fallen before, and now there were only 2 players left. RNG, on the other hand, had a full team of 4 and played against a double team of Tianba. RNG's players believed they had a good chance of winning. The SSS in the L room is also facing the problem of the blue circle gradually approaching, while the 2 VC players are staring at themselves in the safe zone. Helpless, they can only choose to find a tree in the wild area on the right side of the double room. The two brothers use this natural cover to cooperate with the formation of their two vehicle racks, and rely on the uneven terrain around them to survive. In this way, as long as the following circle shape does not favor them and is not a right cut, then SSS will send it. "Brothers, are we going to pick up that walled room?" Wei Kai asked his teammates. "Sure," Summer replied. He believes that the positions they are currently in will most likely be eliminated, and even if the following circles are not eliminated, there is not a good place to stay. There is almost no place to stay in the southern part of the road except for the positions he and Doem stepped on and Wei Kai stepped on. Now Wei Kai and his team are divided into two parts, namely the bottom right corner and the bottom left corner. The middle part of the terrain is very flat, without any cover, unless the next circle is a bottom right corner and a bottom left corner. However, the basic circle rules for survival of the Jedi, excluding extreme circle shapes, include mountain drainage, and the positions they are stepping on at this time can also be considered as mountains. So, it's also good to be able to get a housing area within the circle. However, just as Wei Kai and 5V were running down the mountain to pick up their car, Rush B saw that their single house had been swept out of the safety zone, and began to drive towards the circle. And just as the vehicle had just started and the speed had not increased, Wei Kai saw Rush B's convoy and called the brothers to stop. The team with a single room is moving into the circle, and they may need to come to the walled room here. The single room that Rush B stepped on before is located in the upper left corner of the safety zone, just one step away. However, although it is only one step away, he is still not in the safety zone. Moreover, the front of this single room is still downhill with no cover, which means that the team in the single room can only move towards the circle. Aren't they coming to the walled room in front of us? But their convoy took a turn and headed towards the right side of the circle. The two brothers in the lower right corner heard the sound of cars and determined the destination of the convoy. The low slope below the queue in the north and upper right corner of the double room has a wooden toilet, a dirt road, a stone, and several trees. A proper self-isolation position means not only being drawn by the double room team, but also being casually hit by the team in the upper right corner. Did no one observe the news that the walled house had been abandoned at the high point among these people? Wei Kai was shocked and said, "How many of their brothers are huddled in a small room and not doing anything? But that's also good, it's cheaper for them." Wei Kai only chose to stop when he saw someone moving in the upper left corner, because his vehicle's speed had not been raised, while the speed on the opposite side had already been raised. In addition, it was a downhill slope, and Wei Kai and his team were not as fast as them. If they wanted to come to this walled house, Wei Kai could not compete with them. Most likely, both sides arrived at this walled house at the same time, so there would be a fight. If there were a fight, Wei Kai would not be wasting anyone. Although his strength is not yet at its peak, he will not avoid the battle because of this. His main focus is on confidence. Mainly because there is another team in the left direction of the police station that is not in the circle. iFTY. Wei Kai is afraid that when he and others in this walled room are at a loss, iFTY will come to persuade them to pick peaches. This survival game of the Jedi is not like other games such as LOL and CSGO, where two teams compete fairly on the same map. In the survival game of the Jedi, you have to consider third-party intervention, which is a situation where other teams come to persuade you to fight. As the saying goes, clans compete for benefits, and on the competition field, everyone wants to be that fisherman. If it weren't for iFTY, then Wei Kai might have chosen to just get involved with them. It has been proven that Wei Kai was overthinking, and the other side had no intention of coming to this walled house, or had not received this information at all. Not long after the convoy drove in front of Wei Kai, a wave of flashing messages appeared in the upper right corner of the screen. Rush B was eliminated from the CSG in the double room and the RNG in the upper right corner, both teams receiving some points from Rush B. "See, this is the end of being trapped in a closed position," Wei Kai thought to himself, but this RNG is a bit impressive. While fighting with Tianba, he also fought Rush B. However, just as Wei Kai was planning to get back into the car and go to the wall house, the urgent voice of 5V around him came from his earphones. Kai go, there's someone moving the iFTY at the police station, it seems like they're going to the walled house. Has the iFTY high-speed train arrived? So Wei Kai didn't rush to get on the car anymore, but planned to observe a wave. However, the iFTY athlete of the iFTY high-speed train did not directly choose to get close to the fence room, but instead chose to park on the slope to the left of the fence room. That slope is still within the circle, which may be the reason why iFTY team members did not directly choose to stick it to the fence room. Right, can we hit his tire? Wei Kai asked. There is a slope where he parked, so he can't drive, 5V said helplessly. You can only see a little bit of the roof. At this moment, Wei Kai noticed another jeep speeding towards the walled house from the north. The jeep stuck to the wall on the left side of the enclosure, and two contestants jumped off the car and climbed over the wall into the enclosure. In response, Wei Kai fired a gun to welcome him, injuring one of them and dealing a wave of damage. There was a car with a fence attached. Wei Kai thought for a moment before learning about the team behind the fence. This should be LYG. Seeing that a vehicle had attached a fence house, FTY did not choose to directly attach the fence house. The remaining three brothers drove to the slope and waited there for the circle to refresh. Quickly, the circle refreshed and the competition reached stage 6. A right-cut circle cut away the position where Wei Kai and 5V stepped, while there were still corners on the side of Summer and Do-em in the circle, and Wei Kai's cherished wall house was still in the circle. But the four brothers of VC all know that the position of that corner is already a self-closing point, and the corner in the circle is too close to the road. There is no cover. If you want to go, you can only use your own vehicle as a cover. Staying there will definitely make it difficult for the CSG team from the twin houses to lift their heads, and the next circle will definitely cut away the edges and corners. Unless the four brothers directly explode and engage in a battle with CSG to knock down two of them, there won't be much room for operation. How are we going to fight next? Do we need to go to SSS? Do-em asked. Clean up the two people from SSS and set up another car formation, just to get mixed up. Or do we just drive and hit CSG, and force a fight with them? I have an idea, Wei Kai suddenly interjected. Summer, can you see the slope of iFTY over there? I can see it. Summer replied, if they want to go and build a walled house, I can beat them a bit here, but they will definitely drive. So, Summer, Wei Kai said to his brothers, you just keep an eye on the movement of iFTY. I pretended to leave with the 5V high-speed train and tricked iFTY into thinking that I had left with the 5V and could go to build a walled house with peace of mind. And Summer, as long as you see iFTY driving down the slope, tell us that 5V and I will turn back and drive to the slope they were originally on, hitting them on the back. When the time comes, you and Do-em will also drive directly to the south wall of the wall, and we will advise them to stand up. If Wei Kai and 5V don't go, iFTY will definitely not feel at ease about building a walled house. Because the area where Wei Kai and 5V stepped on not only allowed them to shoot while attacking the walled house, but also exposed them to Wei Kai's gun line when they approached close range. If iFTY wants to stick to a walled house, it can only stick to the left wall of the wall, which is directly in front of them. If you drive to stick to the north wall of the walled house, you will receive gunfire from the RNG team in the upper right corner of the circle. Now it is 6 circles, and the circle is not large anymore. Stick to the south wall, which will be subject to gun lines from the double room CSG. Of course, smoke sealing can be avoided, but for them, it is better to stick to the wall directly in front of them. In addition, they also need to consider the situation of VC persuasion, and it will be difficult for them to be locked outside the fence when the time comes. Wei Kai glanced at the time and noticed that the blue circle was about to start contracting, so he immediately called the 5V to board the car. On the other side, Summer is holding his sniper and staring intently at the slope where iFTY is located, while Do-em is frantically creating signs of attacking both sides of CSG defense. Starting to throw smoke bombs towards the RU road, it made people think it was a sealed cigarette. Fortunately, 3 good brothers from All-Stars came to send a wave of warmth before. The smoke bombs in Do-em's backpack were very abundant, and Summer also distributed some of his own smoke to Do-em, leaving a smoke for himself. The bold Do-em even stepped on the smoke he had sealed and threw it directly into the 3rd floor and fake garage. This move scared the CSG players stationed in the double room, cutting out grenades and incendiary bottles and throwing them into the smoke. The 2 SSS players on the side also stood up when they saw such a big battle, because the CSG players were all attracted by Do-em and no one was looking at them for a moment. Enabling them to stand up, they not only took a few shots towards the smoke, but also wanted to stand up and move towards both sides of the CSG. However, they were discovered by the RNG in the upper right corner and were directly pushed back by their 2 brothers. In an instant, the entire competition field became very lively. All of this was seen by those on the outer slope of the circle. The 2 people from VC have left, it seems like they are going to attack both sides of CSG. Let's go, stick to the fence room. The commander of iFTY, Jiaoyang, gave instructions directly to his 3 teammates. The team in the fence room is LYG, they only have 2 people. If we clear them, we will play in the finals. Now the iFTY players are all very excited. All-Stars, the top-ranked player, was eliminated by VC's Wei Kai for a long time. Then, the 2nd-ranked player SMG was eliminated without a single point, and the 4th-ranked player Tianba was also eliminated not long ago. The top 4 teams are left with their iFTY. Although they are currently eliminated less, they have eliminated the LYG of the walled house and advanced to the finals. This is a big game for them to narrow the score difference. As long as they don't give away in the next 5 games and score steadily, maybe their iFTY can win the club's first league championship. If we win the championship, I will definitely treat Wei Kai to a good meal, said Jiaoyang. Then, a contestant from iFTY stepped directly on a stone near the downhill in front of the top of the slope. In order to avoid being caught by LYG in the wall room and knocked him off, he first threw a smoke at his feet. After the smoke started, he stepped directly into the smoke and threw a smoke bomb towards the wall room. Seal the LYG of the enclosed room with self-closing smoke. Obviously, they don't plan to wait until the blue circle electric buttocks are up before choosing the high-speed train. Soon, the entire interior of the walled house was filled with smoke. Next, 3 iFTY contestants were the first to drive and stick to the wall. After getting off the car, 2 contestants stood at the edge of the smoke, while another contestant sealed a cigarette for his teammate who had previously been sealed, fearing that his teammate would be knocked down by the gun line at the origin. Kaizi, the iFTY high-speed train is here. Let's go, get in the car and hit them. Hurry up, the blue circle is starting to shrink. After speaking, Wei Kai and 5V turned around and returned to the original route. Summer and Do-em also immediately got on the car, started the vehicle, and drove towards the direction of the walled house. Leaving behind a bewildered CSG team member, what do you mean, buddy? You've sealed off so much smoke, and we've also lost a wave of offensive projectiles. Now you're not fighting anymore. Did you just leave like this? The vehicles leaving towards Summer and Do-em were greeted with a wave of gunshots as they bid farewell. However, because Do-em had previously sealed off the smoke, but had not launched an attack, CSG players took the time to take a look at SSS players and RNG players. Not many people were able to sweep the Summer and Do-em cars, so they were unable to sweep the 2 brothers down. And while iFTY outside the wall was throwing offensive projectiles, grenades, and incendiary flasks towards the walled room, suddenly the sound of vehicles approaching was heard. It seems like we still need to go behind them. Ward FA, didn't they leave? Why did they come back? A chill instantly climbed onto the hearts of the 4 iFTY players. End of this chapter.